The sound of triumphant laughter from the council of high-ranking officials reverberated across the Galactic Empire's central hall. Officials in ornate robes sat proudly beneath screens, showcasing their most recent victories. They took pride in their accomplishments. Stories of conquered species, subdued worlds, and the technological superiority that, in their opinion, made their empire unrivaled. According to their reports, humans were portrayed as a strange, relatively new species only just beginning to explore space travel. Their technological level was considered primitive by the Empire, a mere footnote in the chronicles of conquest. They believed that no species, no matter how brave, could ever defy them. Rumors of Earth were old, a tale of no importance to them. Earth was no different from the countless other worlds they had absorbed without resistance. Humanity and Earth were only slight diversions. The high authorities of the Empire decided a reconnaissance squadron would be more than adequate to control them. But one advisor was not so sure. He was a seasoned tactician with keen instincts, and although his doubts were subtle, they were there. He had studied the sporadic reports from the frontier. Odd readings, glimpses of ships with designs that didn't match the Empire's records, and a few unverified accounts of alien ships fighting and defeating Imperial scouts. When he presented these findings to the Council, they dismissed him. The Empire was as conceited as its fleet. They ridiculed the idea that anyone might threaten them. Any opposition, they said, would merely increase the Empire's tally of easy victories. As the Council continued their discussions, the advisor stood in silence, his warning unheeded. He knew the Empire had defeated many foes with ease, but something about these humans, these unassuming beings from a small, unremarkable world, unsettled him. His instincts urged caution, yet he kept his doubts private, waiting and watching as his warnings dissolved into laughter. The Empire's confidence was absolute, built on the backs of every world they had crushed beneath their rule. Every species had fallen before them, from the noble to the feral. Their military might, perfected over centuries, was feared across the galaxy. Yet they knew little of humanity's strength or their resolve. On the outer edge of the Galactic Empire's domain, the first human ships appeared, drifting calmly yet purposefully toward Imperial patrols. The Empire's scouts, seasoned pilots with vast experience, expected an effortless encounter. As they hailed the human vessels, the response was silence. Still, the ships continued their silent advance. Confused, the lead scout ordered a warning shot. To his surprise, the human ship didn't flinch. It didn't even break formation. Instead, it changed direction slightly and accelerated, a calculated move that felt like a direct challenge. The human ships were ready, moving in tight, synchronized formations. They danced around the scouts' attacks with an efficiency that was bewildering. As the humans retaliated, their weapons tore through the Empire's energy barriers, shocking the Empire's forces. The scouts regrouped quickly, launching into an attack formation, intending to crush the insolent newcomers in a single swift strike. But soon the Empire's commanders received shocking reports. Several Imperial ships had been destroyed. Frustrated and in disbelief, they dismissed it as a fluke. They ordered a larger detachment to engage, determined to destroy these upstart ships and restore the Empire's sense of invulnerability. But the human firepower grew fiercer. Their weapons were efficient, precise, and brutal. The Empire's advanced and formidable ships began to buckle and fracture under the relentless assault. One Imperial scout was hit directly in the hull, torn apart in a silent explosion. The others pulled back, barely avoiding further strikes. A full squadron was sent next, bristling with armor and advanced weaponry. As they approached, the humans appeared to flee. For a brief moment, the Empire's forces celebrated, but it was a trap. Lured into a nebula cloud, the Empire's ships found their sensors jammed, their visibility obscured. Then, like phantoms, human ships emerged from the mist, maneuvering with a precision the Empire couldn't match. This wasn't a skirmish. This was a coordinated assault. The humans struck with ruthless intent, darting in and out of formation, targeting engines, weapon arrays, and critical systems with terrifying accuracy. The Empire's pilots began to panic. The strange bursts of plasma and high-energy projectiles weren't just disabling ships. They were dismantling them piece by piece. It became clear the humans had come prepared with adaptable, deadly technology. The Empire's commander, now fending off rising fear, called for reinforcements. That wasn't supposed to happen. They were the Empire, conquerors of innumerable worlds, and yet they were losing swiftly and decisively. The news reached the Central Command. As the High Council watched from their capital, they heard disorganized, fragmented messages. Phrases like overwhelming firepower, retreat, and impossible tactics filled the airwaves. The Empire had been dismissive and confident, but now, with every dispatch, their confidence was shaken. For the first time, the Council was confronted with an enemy that didn't just resist, they retaliated. The human fleet arrived in full force, and with it came the terrifying realization that what had appeared to be a few isolated ships was actually the vanguard of a highly organized and well-prepared armada. The vastness of space before them was filled with thousands of ships, each specially designed and armed with powerful weapons. At the center of the fleet were enormous, unfamiliar vessels pulsing with energy, hulking ships powered by a combination of solar and plasma technology unlike anything the Empire had ever seen. Humanity wasn't just surviving. They had triumphed. The admirals of the Empire frantically tried to coordinate a unified response, summoning all available ships in the sector, forming defensive lines using centuries-old strategies that had destroyed countless civilizations before. But the humans anticipated every move. These weren't random attacks. Every time the Empire's fleet formed a defensive wall, the human ships shifted, slipping through the cracks like water through a sieve. Humanity's forces moved in harmony, their maneuvers swift and devastating, their unity strategic and terrifying. What shocked the Empire most was the human fleet technology. Imperial ships, long regarded as the pinnacle of military engineering, suddenly felt obsolete. Human ships used gravitational drives, allowing them to evade fire with impossible ease, darting in and out of range like specters. Their weapons, some kind of advanced plasma mixed with charged energy particles, tore through the Empire's strongest shields. What should have been simple skirmishes became humiliating routs. With each assault, the humans struck surgically, targeting vital systems, obliterating ships with ruthless precision. It became clear humanity had not come unprepared. This was the fleet of a species that understood war and, more importantly, understood adaptation. They had developed weapons to exploit every weakness in the Empire's arsenal. For the first time, the Empire's commanders felt something unfamiliar: doubt. As the battle raged on, Imperial soldiers, so used to humiliating lesser civilizations, now found themselves humiliated. They weren't just outmatched, they were being dissected, picked apart. The humans had studied them, every tactic, every formation, every vulnerability. And now the Empire's own arrogance had left them naked before the storm. In a rare moment of pause, communication channels were flooded with frantic, terrified voices. Captains reporting the disintegration of their ships, their messages suddenly silenced by the quiet finality of annihilation. What began as a display of dominance had become a desperate struggle for survival. Then a human transmission broke through the Empire's encrypted lines. It was a single, calm statement. No threats, no bluster. We are here to regain our sovereignty, either step down or suffer the repercussions. The message was simple, but the weight behind it stunned the Empire's fleet. They were used to delivering ultimatums, not receiving them, and yet the battlefield told the truth. Humanity's strength lay scattered in wrecked Imperial hulls and silent distress signals. The admirals, once smug in their superiority, now felt a cold wave of fear. This enemy couldn't be bullied, couldn't be intimidated, couldn't be broken. Humanity had declared its intent with clarity, with control, and with power. As the last of the Empire's fleet struggled to hold formation, a grim silence settled among the remaining commanders. What began as a mission to subdue was now a fight for survival, and that fight was nearly lost. Human ships continued their relentless advance, systematically dismantling the Empire's final defenses. The massive Imperial flagship, once the pride of the fleet, now lay exposed and vulnerable, surrounded. Empire soldiers, once defiant to the bitter end, transmitted hurried, panicked messages, scrambling for retreat. Back on the capital planet, The High Council watched in stunned silence as their mighty armada was annihilated. Each shattered ship, each silenced distress call was a fresh wave of dread. They had underestimated humanity to an unfathomable degree, and now they were paying the price.